Hello guys, it's Teenage GC Fan back with another video, and we'd heard for a while it was coming, and the end has finally arrived. OG legend Ray Palmer, played by Brandon Routh, has left the series that he helped launch. So how did it all go down, and more importantly, did the exit work? Kinda. But just so you know, there are spoilers ahead in this video. For DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Romeo v. Juliet, Dawn of Justness. Alright, so the logline finds the legends going back to the 1500s and completely screwing up Shakespeare's career. And we get everything from the legends performing Romeo and Juliet to an insane bachelorette party along the way. But this story is all about Ray Palmer, and also technically his now wife, Nora. Brandon Routh started his Arrowverse journey back on Arrow, then made the jump to Legends, where he's been ever since as one of the few remaining original team members on Legends of Tomorrow. Now the only remaining members are Mick Rory and Sarah Lance. That's it, and they'll probably leave at some point too. But this journey came to a bittersweet end this week, as both Routh and his real-life and on-screen wife, Courtney Ford, bid farewell to the Wave Rider, seemingly for good, with one last wacky time travel adventure. And Routh has made no secret that his exit from the series was not his decision, and was instead put forward by the creative team. He mentioned that he was on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast, Inside of You, and he talked about it a bit there. And knowing that he was forced out, it puts an interesting cloud over the way his departure was handled creatively. So basically the story went like this. Ray and Nora were married last week, and Ray decided the newlyweds need a fresh start to begin their new life. So he decides this will be his last mission with the Legends, and the two will depart the team and the show to start a new life together. And it makes sense on the surface, but it does feel a bit forced in execution. Because Nora, a fairy godmother with her own magical powers, has become close friends with the rest of the Wave Rider crew, while Ray has shown no sign that he doesn't love his job. So had they opted to keep Routh and Ford around, their presence would have made plenty of narrative sense on the surface. So we see Ray and Routh definitely truly struggling with his exit, as he talks Shakespeare through how change can be a good thing, and sometimes stories really do need to end. And this happens after Shakespeare hilariously rewrites Romeo and Juliet to become an Avengers-style team-up with some of his other famed characters, because he sees the legends in action, and then he starts writing superhero tales. But this conversation is clearly a parallel to the writers themselves working through Ray's exit and making clear that they feel they've run out of stories to tell with him and it's time to end. It's just that it doesn't seem like Ray, or Routh for that matter, really believes the point he's selling. Though the entire team is mourning Ray's exit in their own way. But it's Ray's best friend, Nate, who steals the show. The two have had one of the most fun bro friendships on primetime the past few years, and seeing that end truly will alter the DNA of the series. That's manifested on screen, as well as Nate and Ray share a truly heartfelt goodbye before Ray walks off into the sunset, and they tell each other, "This sucks," as they say goodbye, and it does, because this does suck. And it feels pretty clear that they mean it, and fans can likely relate to the sentiment. Of course, it's important to note that this is a show that has reinvented itself time and time again by shaking up its cast, and it's one reason the show remains so wacky and fun in the first place. But in dropping Ray, it's losing a core perspective that has shaped the heart of the series and team since its launch, and it'll be interesting how they fill that gap moving forward. As for the point of that jaunt to the 1500s, the Legends acquire one piece of the Loom of Fate, so you do have a little bit of the main storyline in this episode. And Constantine still plans to use it to rewrite Astra's fate and bring her mother back to life. So, 2 birds, 1 stone, I guess. And they score the missing piece, but there's still plenty more to go, because that's just 1 piece. And it also seems like the woman who raised Astra in hell has some interest in the loom. Could she be one of Charlie's mysterious sisters who also worked the loom back in the day? I mean, that's what I think. It would definitely make sense, because she seems pretty interested in getting that loom. Also, Mona's back in this episode. And she wasn't super annoying this time. She was showing up for book club with Sarah, Ava, and the gang, because she knew it would be Nora's last book club. And she kept encouraging Rory to, get to know his daughter. So, yeah, it's safe to assume that story will pop back up down the line this season. And actually, in the preview for next week's episode, it did show that he's going to spend time with his daughter. So, it's possible that Rory could be leaving the show as well to go live with his daughter. Like, they're just getting rid of all the original cast here. So that's not good. I don't like that. But, so, this episode really wasn't that great, because overall, it was an emotional episode, but it wasn't really handled that well. Like, yes, it was an important episode to watch, because Ray Palmer was leaving, but also they got the Loom of Fate, but nothing really. I think the main reason it didn't really work for me is just because of the fact that Brandon Routh was forced out of the show, and it wasn't his decision to leave. Like, if it was his decision, then I'd be okay with it, because that's what he would want. But if this is the case, then it just doesn't feel right. But anyway, in next week's episode, in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic that has delayed virtually every TV and film production, the CW has opted to delay the next new episode of Legends of Tomorrow a few weeks. So instead of airing a new installment next week, the series will return on April 7th. And this is also a semi-crossover episode with fellow CW series Supernatural, so don't miss it. I mean, no characters from Supernatural are going to appear, at least not from what I've heard, but there's some kind of crossover thing. I think it's like their car or something. I don't watch Supernatural, so I don't know much about that. Yeah, so what did you guys think about this episode? Did you think it worked? Or do you agree with me and feel like this episode didn't really work? Because it was just forced. Everything about this was forced. But thanks so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hope to see you in the next video.